So you want a minion build for Falconer, and you're just starting a new season, or maybe you're a beginner. This is a video guide for the best low-budget minion Falconer build for Last Epoch Season 3 and Season 4. Check out the link in the description of this video for the build planner so you can follow along. This build does not require any special equipment. It's a fun and active playstyle. It's controller friendly and it'll carry you all the way to endgame. I'll show you what abilities to use, how to play this iconic and unique class, what equipment to pick up, how to spend your passive points and how to spend your skill points, and I'll show you which blessings to grab when you're at the end game. Let's look at some gameplay. The early game playstyle differs from the mid to late game playstyle because of the level requirements to unlock certain abilities that we will rely on. Therefore, I'll show you how to play at the beginning of the game and how to play once you've unlocked your core abilities. So how do we actually play this build? I'm playing on controller. And right at the beginning of the game, you're basically just gonna smoke bomb and flurry. Now, how do you play once you've unlocked your Falcon at level 15 and Umbral Blades at level 16? Pretty much the same. You're mainly gonna smoke bomb and flurry. When you need to do range damage, you can throw your Umbral Blades. How do you play this build when you have all of the abilities unlocked? I'll show you. So we're going to use Aerial Assault, Smoke Bomb, Umbral Blades, Falcon Strikes, and Dive Bomb. But the main rotation is Aerial Assault, Dive Bomb. Let's get everybody grouped together. Aerial Assault, Dive Bomb, Aerial Assault, and Dive Bomb, Aerial Assault, Dive bomb. It's that simple. If you like this type of video, I would really appreciate if you'd leave a comment below telling me what your favorite season starter build is. If you're more into Necromancer minions or Beastmaster minions or even Forge Guard minions, you should really check out some of my other build guide videos on this channel. I make beginner build guides and season starter builds. So builds that don't require any special equipment. They're low budget builds that are controller friendly with active play styles. They're fun to play and thematic to the class that I've chosen. So if Falcons aren't really your thing, check out the 3 other beginner build guide videos that I've made. For this rogue, we really need to get to level 16 to unlock both our Falcon and the Umbral Blades ability. But in the meantime, choose Flurry as your first specialization and you can experiment with any other abilities that you like. I'm using dual daggers with Flurry, but a bow works really great too. I also like to keep the Shuriken's ability on my hotbar in case I need a ranged attack from time to time in the early levels. At level 8, you can grab Smoke Bomb for your second specialization. You should spend your Flurry skill points first on unlocking its damage over time capabilities, because dots like Bleed, Poison, and Ignite are very strong at early game, and your Smoke Bomb skill points you can spend on generating shadows. This is in preparation for unlocking Umbral Blades at level 16. You can press the E key to direct your minions to your cursor, and you can press the R key to change your minion stance. On the controller, the minion stance button is the left arrow. You may need to check the game settings for which hotkeys these buttons are assigned to, but minions have an offensive stance and a defensive stance. Offensive stance allows them to wander around and chase down enemies. Defensive stance will keep the minions closer to you. And you can tell which stance your minions are in if you look at the top left corner of your screen. You'll see a little icon with crossed swords or a shield, depending if you're in offensive or defensive. In Last Epoch, anything goes, so feel free to deviate from this video guide and experiment with different abilities. And you don't have to worry because you can always come back to this video and just reset your character's passive points and skill points. Respecking is incredibly easy in Last Epoch. It's barely an inconvenience, but it does cost some gold to reset your passive points. And resetting your skill points will lower their effective level, but it's only temporary. The gold cost to reset passives also increases as you level up. So at first you may feel like you're being penalized for doing a respec, but trust me, it only takes a few minutes to completely change your build. And it generally gets easier to respec as you level up because you get so much gold for your passives and experience points for your skills in the later game. Try to grab equipment that says minions anywhere in its stats, especially weapons that provide plus minion flat damage. If you hover your mouse over your skill, you'll see scaling tags, which tell you what attributes and stats will increase the power of that specific skill. For example, if a skill shows minions and fire in the scaling tags, then your increases to minions and fire from your equipment and your build will contribute to that skill to make it stronger. It's important to look at your skill's scaling tags to ensure that your equipment and build are synergizing. But equipment's not really required for this build. And do not bother picking up equipment to sell it to vendors. It's a waste of your time. You'll get way more gold from just killing monsters than you could ever get from selling items. So drop the items that you don't need on the ground, or if you want them for another character, you can put them in your stash. Throughout Last Epoch's campaign, you'll acquire side quests, and you don't have to do all of them. If you open up your map with the M key on keyboard, you can read all of your quests, and if they don't show, you can press the Shift key to reveal them. You should do the side quests that reward passive points, and the ones that reward idle slots. These rewards will permanently improve your character and increase its power. There's a cap on how many passive points and idle slots you can acquire from the side quests. You can only get a total of 15 passive points from side quests and a total of 8 idle slots from side quests. You can only put passive points into a mastery class like Falconer or Marksman once you have chosen a mastery class for yourself. Most people will put about 20 points into the base class Rogue and save the rest of their points for a mastery class. Once you've chosen a mastery, you can still put points into other mastery trees of the Rogue, but you're limited to only the first half of each tree. Next, I'll take you through the passive points, skill points, blessings, and equipment to look out for. Okay, let's look at the skill points that we need. Let's start with Umbral Blades. So the important thing with Umbral Blades is coming up here to the top left, but the very first points we're going to go into Dawnfall, Edge of Obscurity, and then Umbral Remnant. This will allow your shadows to drop Umbral Blades. Then we're going to come up here to Sword Thrower, Cacophony of Steel, Steel Torrent we're going to fill up with 4 points, and then Loathing. And I'll explain why we're doing this in a moment. Next we're going to take Precision Cuts, Explosive Blades, and then fill up Burst of Agony. Any additional points you have you can put into Jagged Carvings. What this does is it converts Umbral Blades to a spinning vortex on the ground that seeks out enemies and explodes when it gets to them. It's a way to make Umbral Blades do a lot of damage. Next we'll look at Smoke Bomb. With Smoke Bomb, you want to put your first point up in here, Shrouded in Darkness. This is going to add some Glancing Blow chance. And then you can come down to Lingering Fumes, Smoke Blades, and Umbral Assault. This will generate shadows inside of your Smoke Bomb. Then we can come over here, take Generosity, Enfeeblement, so that we can unlock Moonlight Bomb. This will give Silver Shrouds, which increase your dodge chance. So what we're doing is we're making Smoke Bomb drop shadows, give you dodge chance and Glancing Blow. We'll also grab Concealed in Carnage, which will give you the ability to bleed from your Smoke Bomb effect. Then we'll take Eroding Fumes, Swirling Fog, and Knives in the Dark. This adds Shadow Dagger chance. From there, we'll look at Falconry. So I like to come up here first to Falconer's Mark, and then Avian Stamina and Hunter Spoils. This will allow the Falcon to give you some health and mana back when it attacks. And then we'll come over here and grab Marking Strikes, and we'll fill up Avian Arsenal. You want Falconer's Mark and Avian Arsenal at the max. And we'll come down here, Falconer's Journey, Side by Side, and Train to Hunt, so that we can get Go for the Eyes and Exposed Weakness. All this to just increase the damage of your Falcon, and any extra points you can put into Is It a Bird to give it even more damage. Next we'll look at Aerial Assault. So Aerial Assault, you want to come first up here to Avian Hunter, grab Featherstorm, and then go up to Projectile Training, Twilight Strike, fill that up, and Plume Daggers. That's going to give Umbral Blades to your Aerial Strike, Featherstorm. Then you can come here and grab Umbral Remnants, and then go south to Skyward Swoop. Refreshing Resolve will put 2 points to unlock Coordinated Assault. And then we'll go Healing Gust, Aerial Prowess, 1 point into Falcon's Havoc to get Terror Wings, and Torrent of Talons. That's going to add a bunch of damage to your Aerial Assault. And finally, we'll look at Dive Bomb. So Dive Bomb, you want to first come down here, grab Rushing Wings, so that you can get on Wings of Shadows. And then you can come down here, Flock of Crows, and get 2 points into Dancing Shadows. Then from there, you can go up, get Rending Impact, and put 2 points into Talon Knives. From there, we'll go Hindering Beak Strike, expose their defenses to unlock Talon Blades, and Featherfall. And then we'll grab 1 point in Gale of Blades. And that's your skills. Next up, we'll look at the passive points. So I like to dump all 8 points into Dexterity here on Steady Hand. Twin Blade, you can put 5 points into Steady Hand and then 1 point into Twin Blade in order to unlock dual wielding earlier in the campaign. But once you've maxed out Steady Hand and Twin Blade, you want to grab 5 points into Swift Assassin for that attack speed bonus. And then you can go 1 point into Guile, which unlocks Evasion, put 4 points into Evasion, and you can grab 1 point in Agility. And this will increase your damage based on your movement speed. Marksman and Blade Dancer I'll leave to the end because they do good stuff, but it's mostly for dexterity stacking. So we'll start off. 5 points, this is the Falconer tree. We'll look at 5 points in Raptor's Wings, 1 point in Wilderness Scout, and 1 point in Outlander's Tenacity. We'll do 5 points into Agile Hunt, and then 3 points into Peltast, which is going to unlock Avian Hurl. But before we get there, it goes Peltast, and then 5 points into Fencing Grace, 6 full points into Avian Hurl, 1 point in Coordinated Fate, and 3 points into Evasion Tactics to unlock. So that 3 points into Evasion Tactics, 1 point into Intuitive Connection, 1 point into Final Souvenir, and then we'll go 3 points into Relentless Talons. Next up, we've got 5 points into Needle-like Precision, 5 points into Poise for the Glancing Blow chance, 5 points into Stymphalian Feathers. I didn't know I could pronounce that till right now. And then we'll do 3 points into Strike Their Flank, 5 points into Finesse Them, and 6 points into Tailwind. Now, I'm only about level 85 on this build, so I'm not level 100, but there's lots of places to put your extra points. Like you can fill up the rest of these last 3 nodes here. Crit chance. You basically just want to maximize damage with the rest of your points, as much damage as possible, and you know, evasion's nice too. And then we'll look at Marksman, Dexterity stacking. Again, this build is pretty dependent on dexterity, so we'll grab 5 points into Focus Fire. And then Blade Dancer, we'll grab 5 points of Cloak of Shadows, that's more dexterity, and Glancing Blow chance. And then 4 points into Skiasynthesis, a word I'm not sure I can pronounce. That's gonna give some Shadow Daggers. And like I said, I'm only level 85, so the rest of your points I would recommend probably looking at damage or dexterity or evasion wherever possible. Take a look at the equipment. I mentioned earlier in the video, you want basically anything that adds minion damage. Minion health is not going to help you here because your Falcon doesn't have health. Your Falcon cannot die. So you want plus minion flat damage, plus to any skills. Like this helmet gives +1 to falconry and increased minion damage. +1 to skills is always nice. I also have some throwing damage on this build because we're using Umbral Blades, and because some of the nodes in falconry will use your throwing damage or your melee damage to improve your Falcon's damage. So throwing damage and plus to minion flat damage are very important. For the idols, I just went all health here. You don't have a lot of health, So that's how we're boosting that. My blessings, but they're all defensive right now. So armor and resistances primarily. And pretty much the build. So thanks so much for watching, and I really appreciate if you'd like, subscribe, and comment, and have a great rest of your day. I'm Adam, and this is Seagrave Gaming. Catch me next week for the next one.